Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from Euronews written by David Walsh. It was published and updated on February 26th. Look at the title here. And you know this isn't going to be covered by the legacy media because it destroys the, climate change narrative. Because it's this possibility completely screws the pooch on man-made climate change. Just saying. Are the Earth's shifting magnetic fields causing climate change? Well, considering the sun is a factor with climate change, I would think the Earth's magnetic fields could have a factor on, how weather and the environment is here on the planet. Just saying, but they want to say that man is the biggest contributor to climate change. It isn't the sun. It isn't, outer space around us and celestial bodies or anything like that, or the magnetic field of the planet. It's humans, which is why this is never going to get any traction by the legacy media. The Earth's magnetic fields help sustain life on our planet, but they could also be a driver for climate change and the reason why some species have become extinct. This is a bold claim made in a scientific paper published in Science magazine this week. The journal article argues that atmospheric changes more than 40,000 years ago had such a radical impact on the planet that it caused significant environmental damage and even extinction events. So, they've gone and they've looked through, the historical record, we'll say, through looking at different things like trees and stuff like that. Like they used a tree in New Zealand. And they looked at different things and they've come to this possibility, come to this conclusion of this being a possibility. You know that this is going to instantly get dismissed. All right, because they're saying, look, magnetic field change 40,000 years ago, we had this event happen. They're correlating this here. You have correlation. Protecting the Earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation, the planet's magnetic fields play a vital role in preserving life, but do vary in strength with magnetic poles sometimes even shifting position. All right, atmospheric changes more than 40,000 years ago had such a radical impact on the planet. This phenomenon, critics of the paper's assertion say, has never previously been conclusively connected with extinction events or major ecological disasters in Earth's history. So because it's never been linked before, because you've automatically jumped to the fact that man-made climate change is the absolute worst detrimental thing to this planet, okay, because you've done that, and you've focused on the man-made thing, you want to act like, well, it's never been correlated before. It's never been connected to. It's never been seen before. Nothing to see here. Seriously, that's what they're doing with that. That's what these critics are doing. How did scientists come up with this theory? The scientists behind the research examined the rings of the kauri tree, a species native to New Zealand, which reach up to 1,000 years of age and whose wood survives for tens of thousands of years in marshes and wetlands as the basis for their theory. Using carbon dating techniques, they found that the trees they examined were over 40,000 years old, which would mean they were growing during a time known as the Lachamp excursion. The latter was an event in which the Earth's magnetic field significantly weakened. All right, so the latter was an event where they significantly weakened. All right, and they're using historical record from the trees with this, okay? They're using correlation here to figure things out, to postulate a theory. And it's automatically and automatically the critics are trying to dismiss it. But hey, whatever. Studies of the wood samples showed a spike of carbon-14 in the tree's rings, suggesting the Earth had been subjected to high levels of cosmic particles and radiation from space, which, yes, will cause, environmental changes, will cause mass extinctions, things like that. But hey, whatever, nothing to see here. The team estimates that these particles contributed to a breakdown of the Earth's ozone layer, which in turn set in motion changes to the global climate and environmental shifts. Yet, they're talking about climate change here brought on by this, but yet man-made climate change, instead of the magnetic poles of the planet, the sun, and all that, is the biggest contributor to it happening. Okay. Some critics are skeptical. Of course they are. Of course they are. See, because these trees are pushing their, are packing their shit, so to speak. They're fucking them on their theories. While critics suggest that the research throws up some interesting avenues of inquiry, they say the researchers are overreaching in their conclusions. Well, of course they are, because it destroys their narrative. It destroys what they believe. It destroys their bullshit. It destroys what they've made their money on, I'm sure. All right? Whether they're an academic or, there's some shill or whatever the case may be, these critics. All right? Somehow, some way, they make their money off of man-made climate change, I'm guessing. And when you say that, hey, the magnetic poles contribute more, that destroys their narrative that man is killing this planet like they're claiming. Just saying. In particular, they're linking together climate changes with other events that were happening at the same time, such as the extinction of Neanderthals and the advancement of sophisticated cave painting styles. So wait a minute, you people go from A to, and I've used this analogy in a video earlier, but if you people go from A to B to Z, okay, and that's perfectly acceptable. These people go A, B, C, okay, this is related, we'll call this D, and they continue their progression. And you can't say that they can't infer that these things could be related. Are you seriously kidding me? Why? Because it destroys your bullshit. Is that why? Huh? You people are ridiculous. You people are seriously ridiculous. As for the researchers, they contend that early humans were sheltering in caves because of the increased radiation and using ochre, the primal ochre? I'm probably butchering that. The prime material used in cave paintings. Yeah, I am. As a rudimental sunscreen. Yeah, I don't doubt this. But others point out that they were known to have lived in caves and used the earth pigment for artistic purposes for tens of thousands of years before the Lachamp excursion. But this is what's funny. They're just trying to dismiss this, okay? Because they're saying that these people because early humans were sheltering in caves. All right, so Neanderthals die out probably because they weren't necessarily, looking at the fact of living in caves, stuff like that. They were inferring here that these things could happen. And you're just trying to outright dismiss them, these critics. But they were known to be living in caves. How do you know they were living in caves at that before that point? There is no proof of that, okay? The evidence of them living in caves could come from this particular time, but they're automatically assuming that it's coming from prior to that point. They have no way of proving that people were living in caves prior to this point. So both theories could be correct. That both theories, okay, could be correct. Like, not both actually correct, but both theories could be correct. The idea is which one is actually correct, okay, can't be told. So you're just trying to outright dismiss this shit. It's so sad. Are magnetic fields contributing to drastic changes in the world's climate? Although the research published by Science has its merits, critics conclude the jury seems to be out on the wider scientific community. Well, of course, because you know why? They don't want to bring this up because we're now watching the poles are shifting. They're moving very quickly on the note of like geological, the idea of the geological context of it, okay? Because they've been pretty true. They barely move. Now they're moving quickly for the type of thing, situation. The poles are moving. They're moving quicker than they generally have that we've been able to look at and record. And you don't think that's going to affect climate? You don't think that's going to affect the environment? Bullshit. But they want to do man-made climate change as opposed to maybe the magnetic poles have a factor. I mean, it's ridiculous how they're trying to treat the situation. It's always man-made climate change. When you bring up something that could contradict it or could also be contributing and may have more influence over or more impact would be appropriate over climate. You bring something like that up and they're like, nope, instantly shut it down. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's become, instead of being about science, it's become about ideology. Because the science would say, let's look at all factors to climate change, as opposed to going and automatically zoning in on the human being factor and going, humans are the worst contributor to climate change. Just a thought. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm leaving things here.
If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.